All right, so we've added quite a bit of color so far to this blanket. It's time to add the Catherine's wheel. Now the Catherine's wheel is a stitch pattern that can actually be done with just one color instead of two, but I have incorporated two colors. You can go on and make every single wheel section a different color if you want to. I really like how the two colors look. Coupled with the long wave stitch, I think that it's a great balance to this baby blanket, and it's very intriguing. It draws your eye to these stitches, and so let's jump in and see how to do the Catherine's wheel stitch. If we look down here at the sample square of the blanket, you can see that we begin our square with partial wheels, like half the wheel is complete on our first row. And then what's going to happen is we're going to change colors and we're going to fill in the valleys of this first row, okay? So we're going to create peaks and valleys. This pink, we did all the peaks. This second row, we're going to fill in the valleys. Then we come back with the blue and we're going to create peaks again. And then as we change colors, we fill in the valleys. So when you fill in the valleys coupled with the row that builds the peaks right on top of them, that's how you get this circular wheel look. Isn't that cool? It's like a big starburst. I think it's so fascinating. I'm going to move this blanket forward and we're going to jump right on in. The pattern we're using for this today is the Crochet Stitch Sampler Baby Blanket. You can find that on my website, marleybird.com. In that pattern, you're going to find instructions for the in-class block that I'm going to show you today, as well as the size of block to complete a full-size baby blanket that I just showed you. There's also instructions for how to make this stitch pattern written out. There's instructions for the chart as well. In this lesson, I'm going to have you follow along in the chart with me visually because I feel like it's a really great opportunity for you to see how charts work. And it's also a chance for you, if you're not a fan of charts yet, see how I said yet, you can check out the words and see how they coincide with the chart. Maybe one day the chart will become clear to you and you'll be like, oh, this is so much easier. That's my goal. So right here, we're going to start off with our color A, and it says the in-class block, we want to chain 22. I've already done my chain 22 because I figured by this point, you've seen me count to 22 enough times. You know I can do it. So I went ahead and I've chained my 22. And as I read my chart here, I know that this first row, I'm going to read it from the right to the left. And if you've been watching these other videos, you know that the reason I'm doing that is because my number one, my green number one, is over here on the right side. And that's my clue that I have to start over here to read it going this way. Then my number two is over here to the left, and that's my clue that I'm going to read this going back that way. You see that? So I can see here that I'm going to put a single crochet in the second chain from hook and in the third chain from hook. I also noticed that this chain stitch out here, which is the 22nd chain of the 22 stitches I did, is hanging out there, which means it's not going to become an actual stitch. It's just a turning chain. So I'm not going to want to mark that stitch with my marker. I am going to put a marker though at the top of this first single crochet. If you need a refresher on any of these stitches, whether it's the single crochet, the chain, or the double crochet that we're going to use today, please go check out the beginner basics videos right here on this channel. We're going to skip the first single crochet or the first chain. Never count the chain on your hook as a stitch. We're going to skip the first chain, go into the second chain with a single crochet. And this is where I would pause and I would grab my stitch marker. I love these removable stitch markers. I'm just going to pop it in the top of the stitch there, grabbing both legs. That's my clue that that is the last stitch of that row the next time I have to come down to that stitch marker. I'm going to put a single crochet next to that first one I completed. And I look at the chart and it says to skip 1, 2, 3. And then in the fourth chain, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets. 1, 2, 3 chains I'm going to skip. And in this one, I want to put 7 double crochets. So here we go. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3. If you're working along with me, hopefully I'm not counting out loud and messing you up. I have 4, 5, 6, one more, 7. Now I'm going to point out here that when you put that many stitches in a chain stitch, it tends to really tighten up the chain stitch on either side of that one. So if you need to move these a little bit to open up the stitch beside it so that you don't forget it, you can absolutely do that. That's one of the first mistakes that beginners make, is they lose their chains just because they're putting all these stitches in the chains next to it, so they forget to count those chains. So we have 7 there. We're going to skip 1, 2, 3 chains, and then we're going to put a single crochet in the next 3. So I want to make sure that I count that chain. So that's 1, 2, 3 skipped. I'm going to put a single crochet into this one right there, and the next one over, and the next one over. Can you see how using the chart gives you a very good visual representation of what the stitches are going to look like once they're worked into the chains indicated? I think it's brilliant. So again, I've skipped 3 chains. I'm going into the 4th chain, and I'm working 7 double crochets all in that 4th chain. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I look at the chart, I can see I'm skipping 1, 2, 3, and I'm putting 2 single crochets in the last 2 stitches, or the last 2 chains, I should say. So skipping 1, 2, 3, which leaves me with 2 chains. Perfect. Sometimes I say perfect and I feel like it's Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way. All right, so I did the 2 single crochets, and that would finish my row. It's time to change colors. Now, I am going to go ahead and back out of this single crochet. I'm going to back out that last one, and I'm going to change colors now in the last one. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now, if I wanted to complete the single crochet, I would yarn over and draw through both loops. But because I want to change colors, I'm actually going to grab my yarn or my scissors. I'm going to cut my yarn, leaving at least 4 inches. I prefer 6 inches for a tail. The more tail you leave, the better chance you have of getting it woven in really well, so it doesn't come undone. It just looks so much better to leave a 4-inch to 5-inch tail, 6-inch tail. So I'm going to hold the tails together, and now I'm going to yarn over with my new color and pull through. And what that does is it allows the old color, the blue down here, to remain down there, but now I have this really pretty purple magenta color on my hook and ready to go for the next row. So I'm on row 2, we have our number 2 out here, and it looks like I have to chain 2 stitches. 1, 2. I'm going to turn, and I want to point out something on the chart because this is a new symbol you haven't seen yet. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets. You can tell those are double crochets because of the hash marks, but see how they all come together to one point? Let me use my little hook here. See how all those come together with one top hat? It's like one cross of the T at the top. That means we are going to do partial double crochets and then pull our yarn through all the ones that are remaining on our hook to create one stitch there. It's sort of like a bobble, only instead of putting all of these partials into one stitch, you can see that one double crochet is going to that single, one double crochet is going to that single, one is going to that double, one is going to that double. So we're going to have it spread out like spokes of a wheel. Here's how we are going to do it. I'm going to show you. So I have my hook and my yarn. I'm going to yarn over my hook. I'm going to go into the first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, and stop. That's the first partial. Remember, I don't want to finish this because I want to finish them all together at the very end. I'm going to yarn over my hook. I'm going to go to the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. I'm going to stop. So we have to the next one. We yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, stop. We have one more to go. Yarn over our hook, go into the stitch, yarn over our hook, pull up a loop, yarn over our hook, draw through 2. If I needed to put this down and go answer the door or answer the phone and come back to it, I know that I have done 4 partial double crochets, and I can know that not only by counting these posts down here, but I could count the number of loops that are on my hook. I started with 1 loop, So I should have one loop more than the number of partial doubles that I needed to complete. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is perfect because I needed 4 partials and then my loop that's on my hook. So now that I have all those done, I'm going to yarn over and draw through all of those stitches. You see that? So now, see how that looks like a spoke of a wheel? And that's what we want it to look like. We have them all pulled together. We have that top hat, which is the V right up here, just like the top of all of our stitches that has that V. We still only have one V. So we did all those partial double crochets, but we're left still with one stitch. Isn't that cool? I love that. We can see here we have a chain 3, so we're going to chain 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to put a single into the next double of that half wheel below, single in the next double, single in the next double, and then chain 3. When I teach this stitch in classes, I like to tell them that we're not going to leave any stitch behind. Every single stitch of the row below is going to be worked into. And you're going to notice that as we're going around. We're filling in all of the valleys and we're going across all the peaks. So there's no stitches that we are going to leave unworked. And we have these nice chain 3 sections we're building, and it's sort of like building a bridge. Okay? So I have chain 3 right here. And now we have, ooh, look at this. If I didn't tell you what this was, I'm sure you could figure it out. Because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets. But look, they're all coming together with one top hat. So that means those are 7 partials, all done in particular stitches, but we're going to bring them all together at the end, right? So it's just like we did over here, only it's more than just the 4. So here we go. You ready? We're going to yarn over our hook. We're going to go into the next stitch because we're not leaving any stitch behind for this section, right? Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, so that's 1. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, that's 2. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, and that's it for that one, so that's 3. Yarn over your hook, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2, and that's 4. Next stitch, yarn over your hook, go into the stitch, yarn over your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. So that's 5. Yarn over your hook, go into the next stitch, yarn over your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. So that's 6. We have one more. Yarn over your hook, go into the next stitch, yarn over your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over your hook, and draw through 2. Now if I had lost count and I knew I needed 7 partials, that means I need 8 loops on my hook. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is perfect. Now I know I need to bring them all together, just like this top hat up here, to create one final stitch. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through all of those loops to create one stitch. And fancy that, look, see? I'm left with one V-stitch. Can you see that? One V-stitch. So I did all of those and I get the V-stitch. So I've created this lovely spoke section for the circular part of the Catherine's wheel, but I'm left with one stitch and I have filled in all the valley stitches. Can you see how it's no stitch left behind? We have them all worked there. So if we look at the chart, it shows to chain 3, and we're going to do a single, single, single in the next 3 stitches. So I'm coming back over here. We do a single, single, single. And then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And again, on this side, we are complementing this same thing over here, so we make it symmetrical. We're going to do partials because it all comes over that one top hat. So we're going to do that to finish off all these stitches. So we yarn over, go into the next stitch, go into the next stitch. I'm not talking through this one. I want you to talk through it yourself. It's the only way you're going to learn. And then in the very end, when I have all of my stitches on there, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I have 4 partials, yarn over, draw through all of them, and that completes that row. Can you see that? So I have half of a wheel there, then I have the bottom half of another wheel right there. So we're going to create the top half of this magenta color next, all right? You ready? We're over here, we're on row 3, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, I'm going to turn. Now I can see I'm putting 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets all into that finished stitch right there, okay? When I put that in there, I want you to say, I want you to see, I want you to notice, see how each of these double crochets all have their own top hat, they all have their own top of the T. That means they are finished double crochets. They are individual stitches. So we want to make sure we don't pull them all together like we did down here. These are all individual. So we're going to create our first one. So I'm yarning over. I'm going into the stitch like we need to. I'm going to complete the first one. I'm going to move my marker up because that is the last stitch of the row. I like to use markers to indicate that. Hopefully you've noticed that along the way. I feel like it's really handy and it's such an easy little thing to do. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 single crochets. So I'm skipping all of these chains. And I'm coming all the way over here to where these single crochets are, and I'm putting singles on top of the singles. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to skip all these chains, and I'm putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 individual double crochets all in the top of that one there that I had created down there. See that? So this one down here, it was left with one loop, remember? So we are going to put all 7 in there. So here we go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. My yarn's giving up on me. 5, 6, 7. Okay? So I've put my 7. I'm going to skip this chain 3. I'm going to put single crochets in the next set of single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Get my yarn, it's bothering me. So I've done my singles, and now over here, just like over here, we want to make sure that that's equal. If you'll see here, this is like half of a wheel. Can you see that on the side? So I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to come all the way over here to the edge. Ooh, I forgot to mark that edge. Bad, Marley. Luckily, I've been doing this a while, and I know where it is. 2, 3, 4. So on this last one, on the fourth one, if I wanted to add a new color, I would cut my yarn, and before I pull through these last two, I'd pull through my new color. I'm going to go ahead and pull out my old color, because when I put this down, I want you guys to see how this works. So if I have it all spaced out, can you see here? We have part of a wheel, that represents that one and that one. We have to fill in the valley, so it's part of the wheel, it's the bottom part of the wheel. That's what we did here with these ones that have the finished top hat. And then over here, we did the chain 2, and then we have part of a wheel to create the top part of the wheel, 3 singles, the part half, like a full half part of the wheel to create the top of the wheel. See how that completes the wheel? 3 singles, and then a quarter of the wheel to complete the partial wheel over here. If I changed colors right here to go back to blue, and I worked across and I filled the valley again and came up and then filled the valley, we'd start creating the blue Catherine's wheel on top of here. So you would alternate those two sections, or those two colors and these rows to create the Catherine's wheel stitch. I think it's a really great stitch. It adds a lot of fun colors. There's lots of great color choices and excitement to any sort of crochet pattern. Now you know how to do the Catherine's wheel stitch.